Hey guys, so today I'm going to be installing a jackshaft garage door opener. So what is a jackshaft garage door opener first of all? Well, when you look at this garage door that's over my head here, there's an opener that's mounted in the center of the ceiling, and that opens the door by pulling a shaft that is attached to the top of the door. And this actually lifts the door and brings it all the way back, right? And that creates this center section where the door opener is hanging down, and it ties up some portion of your ceiling, and it also limits the height overall of your garage door. So if you wanted like a high lift garage door where the rails were up high, this being here is an issue. So this is a jackshaft garage door opener. This is a Genie 6172. Genie doesn't sponsor me. They didn't sponsor this video. I bought it from Amazon. I'll put a link in the description. And the way that this operates is there is a shaft on either side, and this mounts next to that shaft along the wall, and it twists the shaft to lift and close the door. So that's going to do a couple of things for me. Number one, I can get rid of this, which means that when I use my quick jacks, I can lift a car higher. Right now, I don't have a problem with lifting the Mercedes or the Mini, but if I wanted to lift like my Honda Passport, an SUV, I can only lift so high, and then this will be in the middle of the windshield of the car. I just don't have any room to go backwards. So if I have to work on the SUV, I often need to put it like diagonally in the middle of the garage to lift it up, and it's just not great. Number two, my current garage door opener does not have a battery backup, and this is the only way that we get into and leave our house. We have a dead-bolted door in the front of our house. We have gates on the side, no rear access. So this is the way that everybody comes into and leaves our house. And when the power is out, if I don't have the generator running, we can't open and close the garage doors. So this is a way to have some emergency usage of the garage doors. If we happen to be gone when the power goes out, we can still open and close the garage doors. And there was a certain time where now all new garage door openers have to have battery backups in homes in order for it to meet code in California. I don't know if it's everywhere, but this Genie does have that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the parts that came with it. And then I'm going to muddle through this installation. I've never done one before, and we're going to see if we can figure it out together. All right, so let's first talk about what's included in the kit. This is the garage door opener itself. You'll see there's a power cord coming off of it, and there is also an antenna and a cable to release. Back here, this is the light. So this will replace the light in the center of your ceiling. This is Bluetooth connected, but it does have power. So this plugs into where your old garage door opener was, and it is a light. That is the battery that attaches to the bottom of the opener. These are the sensors to see if you have an obstruction before closing the door. This is a latch system that actually locks the door in place. Installation instructions. We have the wire for the sensors. We have the coupler to connect it to the jack shaft. And then we also have the wall opener buttons. So that would be like inside your garage, and that is wireless. We have the actual remote controls, and then this is a keypad remote, which is an extra add-on that I added on to mine. And then these are what they call cable keepers, which keep which keep tension in your cable. So to see if you can have a jackshaft garage door opener in your own home, there are a couple of critical dimensions that you need to meet. So that shaft needs to be a certain length out from the bearing. It needs to be a certain length out from the wall. You have to have a certain distance between it and this wall and it and the ceiling. And all of those are available on the manufacturer's website or on the Amazon listing even. I'm not going to get into the details here because there are many different models of jackshaft garage door openers and they all have different specs. So find the one that meets yours. I will say that I had no problem with any of the brands that I found, whether it was Genie or LiftMaster or Chamberlain. They all would work here for my implementation. So the very first thing that we're going to do, since this is going to mount on this side, this coupler is going to go on this side of my garage door opener. Something to note, there is a side with a key and there is a side without. The side without goes on the Genie. The side with the key goes towards your shaft. Some shafts are keyed, mine are not. So we're going to take this and we're going to tighten it to the Genie, and you should bottom it out on the Genie when you attach it. So I'm going to get these bolts tightened. Okay, so we have this installed. It's a 13 millimeter, tightened all three. Just tighten them evenly. It was like a turn and a half on each one, and then they were snug, and then I just gave it a little bit more on each. Now, the next thing that we want to do is we want to check our door to make sure that our spring tension is correct. If your spring tension isn't correct, you're going to have somebody adjust it. I am not willing to adjust it myself. So you want to pull the release to release it from your opener, your current opener, and then lift up on the door. And they say 2 to 4 feet. So it's probably right around there, and then let it go. And it should go down slowly or stay where it is, which is what mine's doing. It dropped a couple inches and it stayed. If your tension was not right, it would drop, and then you would have to increase the tension to solve that problem. So now that that has been done, we're going to install what are called your cable keepers. So this is a cable keeper. There are 2 of them. This one belongs on this side of the door. So this mounts to the bottom of the door using these 3 holes, and then this goes like that, and it connects to the cable that sits in the back. And this is designed to keep tension on that cable and to eat up any slack that might be given in the opener. Okay, so to install these cable keepers, this actually has a spring, and you can kind of pull it off like that. And you'll see that my door already has these 3 holes in the bottom location, which I'm assuming yours will too. So right here, there's actually a nut that is there from mine automatically. So I'm going to put that nut back on. I'm going to insert screws into these other 2 holes, and then I'm going to put this back into place. All right, so we have our cable keeper installed. We're going to hook it on the cable just like that. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We have our garage door opener. So this slides onto the shaft, and you tighten up these 3 bolts. And then once you get that in place and you tighten up those bolts, there's like a bracket, an angled bracket that bolts onto the bottom of it here and bolts to the wall. So we've connected that. We measured our unit to make sure that it was level. And then the next thing that you want to do is you want to install the locking assembly. So the locking assembly looks like this. In the back of the manual, there is a diagram, it's a little sticker that you stick to your rail and you drill through it to bolt this in. So this is connected with 2 11 millimeter bolts, and there's a locking pin. And you could see my pin is actually right here. It's above my rail, and they suggest that you do it on either the 2nd or the 3rd panel. So the 2nd panel made sense for me because in the 3rd panel, I've got this bracket right here that would be in the way. So that's in place, and this is a lock to keep this from opening. So now we can connect our lock wire. There's a plug here that says lock on it. So we're going to plug this in. This is the locking harness, and we're going to connect the wires to the lock. Now, for right now, I'm not going to shorten these wires. We're going to cut them down later when we actually install them in place. Okay, so now we're going to install our sensors. And my sensors actually end up lower than they're supposed to be. You're supposed to put these 5 to 6 inches off the ground, but because of my cabinets on that side, I can't. So mine sit really low to the ground. Follow the instructions. Don't do something just because I do it. Okay, so we have our sensor installed. Now we're going to go install the sensor on the other side. All right, so we have our sensor wired in, and it's connected to the bottom of our door. They give you these little cable management things. They're like little nail-on clips, but they honestly kind of suck. So that might be something that you would want to buy from Home Depot and have something different or something along those lines. We're going to open up the door here now, and we're going to power this on for the first time. I have a plug right here behind my cabinet that I'm going to plug this guy into. So it is powered on. Now, I want to program it first before I press the button. It's still disengaged from my door. So I want to adjust the opener speed for drum sizes first. So we want to measure the size of our drum here. So mine is a 4-inch, which is standard. So it says you need to press and hold set program on the opener until both LEDs turn blue and then release. Blue, release. Press the up button twice. Press the program button once. The current setting will now be displayed. So red means 4-inch. Press the program to lock in the selection. Unit is now ready to set limits. So now we need to raise the door up a little bit and engage the door to the opener. Okay, so we press the button and it opens the door. Then we press the button and it closes the door. I think my up limit is a little too high. Okay. And you can see that my lock latched as it's supposed to. So that should all be good. Now we need to test the contact reverse. So with the garage door open, we're supposed to lay a 2x4 board flat on the floor at the garage door opening. Close the garage door using the wall control. It should stop in reverse direction within 2 seconds to full open. One, two, goes back up. Okay, so my force profile is set correctly right out of the box. Perfect. I have to program my remote. So I have this remote, pull this little tag out of here, and it should not. It was already programmed. Cool. Okay. It tells you how to program it, but okay, that's that. All right. So at that point, the garage door is installed. What's left is for me to remove my old garage door, for me to install this button on the wall, and for me to install the light on the ceiling, which has been hanging out right here. So I'm going to work on getting those done, and then I'll come back and show you the finished product. All right, so we are done. The last thing that I have to do is fix some spots with some paint. But if we take a look, there is the opener installed behind us. You can see that it takes up very little space on the wall. I also have to plug this in up there, which means I'm going to have to put an outlet in the ceiling, which I haven't done yet. But I'll probably do both of them at the same time. I am planning on changing that garage door opener as well, especially after seeing how well this one works. So like I mentioned, there is the unit actually installed. There is the locking mechanism. You can see it locked into place right now. And then there are the lasers. There's a green laser here. There's a red laser there. And you're supposed to put the green on the side where the sun is. So the sun should hit the red, not hit the green. So I try to do that for mine. You can see the light in the ceiling there. So there is the light that's installed. And that comes on just like any other garage door opener. When you press the button to open it, that light comes on. The sensors were easy to install. The lock required a little bit of drilling. The controllers were easy to program. Here's the controller that it actually came with for the wall, which is slightly different than what it showed. You can see the Genie Universal series there on the wall. That's the bottom one. My Marantec is my old one. And it's actually a 3-door unit. So the top button is for this door, and then when I install the other garage door opener, I'll actually be able to program button number 2 to run that, and I can just have one set of buttons here. What's really cool is that this is a wireless unit. So it takes 2 AAA batteries, but it is wireless, and obviously it doesn't require anything to go back and forth between the units, so I didn't have to run any cables in my attic or find the old ones and bring them over to that corner. So that was really nice. But the unit works really well. I'm going to just press the button here and show you. And I also want you to pay attention to how quiet it is. So it's really pretty much silent. The creaking of the door is far louder than the actual opener. And the opener has a battery in it. I already tested the operation without it plugged into the wall. So if you unplug it and press the button, it'll still go up and down, which is really cool. The light doesn't work, but the rest of the stuff does because the light is powered by electricity. In battery mode, the operation is slower than it is in regular plugged-in mode. I'm sure that's by design. I'm imagining it's probably a 24-volt unit and it probably has a 12-volt battery. So anyway, thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, feel free to put them down in the comments. I'll put a link in the description to where I got this from, which was Amazon. And if you buy it through that link, it actually helps me out. It gives me a small kickback on the purchase that you made. And it's one of the ways that you can support the channel. So anyway, thank you for watching and have a great day.